Funny story, I actually tried to film this video like outdoors on my university campus, and this is what happened. I hate filming outside because like the natural light makes my pores, each and every one of my pores, look like the Grand Canyon, and like I just despise people now for existing in public spaces. I'm turning the other way because there's a person right here. I can't do this. This is difficult. There's like a couple canoodling on a bench over there. Could you conceive your children elsewhere? Yeah, I ain't doing that shit again. So today's video is a Top 5 Wednesday video. If you don't know what Top 5 Wednesday is, link in the description. For today's topic, we are talking about the top 5 authors that we would like to read more from. Now, I'm not quite sure if this is considered cheating, but the first 2 authors that I want to show you are authors who only have like 1 book published, but I would like to like read more from them if they publish some more. So the first one is Mia Alvar, who wrote In the Country, which is a short story collection that I read last year and absolutely adored. I did a full-on review of this, which I talked about like everything I needed to talk about with regards to this book, so I really recommend that you go and look at that. Now, this book focuses on the Filipino experience, and it ranges from like the 1970s to more like modern day-ish times, and I loved it because of the fact that all of the stories sort of followed like different Filipino people in different contexts, different experiences, different identities, different backgrounds, and it really showed the kind of scope that Mia Alvar as an author and a writer can cover. And add that to the fact that I would really love to read some more Philippine lit, and while there are quite a few authors on my mind, this one in particular I really want to see some more from. So the next author who only has 1 book is Aisha Saeed, and she wrote Written in the Stars. So Written in the Stars is about a Pakistani American girl who kind of breaks her parents' like #1 rule of not having a boyfriend, and so they decide to take her back to Pakistan under the false pretense that they want her to reconnect with her roots. But when she's there, she realizes that they're actually trying to organize an arranged/forced marriage for her. I read this 2 years ago during a time where I wasn't that much of a critical reader, so when I look back on it now, I can definitely see a lot of the flaws that I wasn't able to pick up the first time that I'd read it. I still love it. It's still a very special book to me, and I really want to see more from Aisha Saeed. She is an excellent storyteller. I was absolutely absorbed into the story of this book. Till this day, this is the only book that I was ever able to read in one sitting because I just wanted to know how it wrapped up. Even if she doesn't write anything that is as suspenseful as this book, I really do see the potential in her as a writer, so I look forward to her future work. So the next 3 authors are 3 authors that I don't just love their work, but I love them because I watch all of their interviews and their TED Talks and their what have you, and they are just 3 incredible women. They each have a few books published, but I've only read 1 of each of them, so I'll talk about them now. The next author is, of course, again, no stranger to my channel, and that is Roxanne Gay, who wrote Bad Feminist. This is a collection of essays about feminism, politics, mass media, all of those things just wrapped up all together, and I absolutely loved it. Roxanne Gay's writing is very conversational, it's very engaging. Something that I've also noticed about her rhetoric is that she tries to explore like really complicated situations. I don't know how to explain this, but like situations where it's like you kind of contradict yourself. That's the whole point of Bad Feminist, by the way. It's because you want to be a feminist, you want to be, you know, perfect in that sense, but at the same time there are certain problematic aspects about yourself that just, you know, make you a walking contradiction, and that's just human nature. And I did start reading An Untamed State by her, which I stopped reading not because I didn't like it, but I was reading it at a bad time, and I noticed that that sort of, I don't know how to describe it again, but that sort of like way of thinking really does influence the way that she wrote this book, in the sense that this is a very complex, complicated situation. Nothing is black and white, nothing is squeaky clean, nothing is you can't just look at something in this book and nod your head and be like, yes, that's good, or no, that's bad. It's a very muddy book. That's how to describe it, muddy, but in a good way. So again, while her work is conversational and engaging and all of that stuff, it's also challenging, and I need a lot more of that in my life. She also has 3 other books. She has a short story collection which came out this year called Difficult Woman. She has a memoir which is coming out later this year called Hunger, and I believe she has another short story collection which was her first published book, and I think it's called IET or something like that. The next author is, of course, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. This year I finally, after following her on social media for years, I finally read Purple Hibiscus, which was her first published novel. This was just such an excellent novel because it really explores in an honest, genuine, realistic and subtle way the ways in which our ideas and notions of gender are shaped by the institutions that we are part of, and really formulate and dictate how we interact with the people in our lives. This book dealt with some incredibly dark and difficult topics and discussions in incredibly nuanced ways, and it was also a very unique, fun and different spin on the whole idea of character development and growing up, and also challenging what you are taught to believe is right from wrong. I am also reading The Thing Around Your Neck by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and I read 3 stories from that so far. It's a collection of short stories that she wrote. And I also have Americana, which is her most recent work and her most popular work. I'm really looking forward to this one as well. And she also has another novel called Half of a Yellow Sun, which I think is focused on the Biafra history of Nigeria. I don't really know a lot about that, so forgive the wording if it was a bit off. And then she has 2 other pamphlet type non-fiction books. One of them is available as like a post on Facebook, the other one is available as a speech on YouTube, so I don't really have intentions of like buying those. And the final author should come as no surprise to any of you, but that is Ruth Ozeki, who wrote A Tale for the Time Being. I know I talk about this book all the time, and some of y'all are just like, oh gosh, Sajid, you need to read some more so you can stop talking about that damn book. But I ain't gonna stop talking about it. I will continuously and shamelessly and unapologetically shove this book in everybody's faces because I just love it so much. Ruth Ozeki gets me. She gets me because all of the random, weird, and like, I don't want to say existentialist, but it could fall into that category, but all of those random weird things that I like to think about that fall into that nature of thinking, Ruth Ozeki just like spills all the tea in this book. And when I look at her interviews, when I look at how she talks about her writing, she has such an admirable spiritual connection with her characters, with her writing, and her work is an expression of her thoughts and her feelings and her beliefs, her philosophies, and I don't, like, every time I talk about this book, I lose words to describe it because it's just so amazing. And Ruth Ozeki, she's amazing. I really want to read more from her. She has 2 other books. One of them is called My Year of Meat, and then her other book I think is called Something with Creation. I'll leave the title here because I can't remember. So those are the 5 authors that I really want to read some more from. I need to get Ozeki's books. But yes, tell me if you've read any of these authors or any of these books or any of the other books that they have written and what you think of them. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely, lovely day, and until next time, inshallah, keep reading.